back onto Team GB. So at that point before that, I had my little motorbike to travel around all the gyms in the UK for sparring. So it was so expensive to drive that I had my little motorbike I travelled to, I used to go to gyms on my own. It'd be 15 boys waiting outside the ring for me to spar. Because I knew this is
experience and stuff.
And I had to do it because we knew what we had to do to be the elite. And then I had a freak who I wasn't acting in the actually. It was just like I had a freak motorcycle accident, my career over. You know, it's, and sadly then it was. I remember watching the Olympic Games, watching Andrew, all the boys. I broke my heart. I was sitting on the sofa in my wheelchair, sobbing my eyes out. That everything I worked out for all these years was gone.
Yes, now family, welcome back to another video on Jazza TV. Today we're lucky enough to have Daniel Chapman, being the whole boxing world champion, ex-amateur star. Me and Daniel boxed in the Commonwealth Games final, we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I'm out here in Marbella and been lucky enough to be invited out here to Unit 41 gym. And Daniel said to me for the day, come out, I'm looking for the gym. He said, come out, have a little look. And I jumped at the opportunity, got on the flight the next day and seen it, didn't I?
Yeah,
so thank you for having me over there.
Absolutely welcome, it's a pleasure to have you. We have so many memories and so much to talk about. And you know, like I said, I was in Dubai last week and one of our other teammates that we were friendly with was Ryan Aston. And we can all speak to each other for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, nothing changes.
So when we was fighting, was that at the start and where I first met you? We met at Sheffield, didn't we?
Yeah.
What would you call the English Institute? Sorry to all the Welsh people out there, but it was the English Institute of Sport, wasn't it? But that's where we meet once every 2 weeks, was it? Every 10 days for the Great Britain team?
Yeah, it was because, you know, after Amir Khan won the silver in the Olympics, he brought funding to Team GB. Before that, we was training at Crystal Palace, having Fruit and Loom t-shirts made with Team GB on, you know. So the likes of me and Jazza, who won our national titles, obviously then Team GB had to look at us and be assessed. So we'd have 3 assessments. So me and Jazza always made it through to the 3rd one. On our first attempt, they sent us home. Later on, the following year, again we carried on winning national titles and British titles. And then we went on a GB assessment. And I think we was at the right age at that time. We was quite mature, we had more experience under our belt. And we got through to the assessments and we passed and ticked all the boxes and the coaches loved us. But the doom and gloom after is that we knew that we was going to the Commonwealth Games that were in India, the Youth Commonwealth Games. And I knew Jazza and Jazza knew me, and we knew that the standard of the semi-finals and the finals was going to be, you know, high level boxing. So when I remember that I knocked the Canadian out first, then I knocked the South African out, and I knew Jazza had beaten a guy, and then he fought the #1 Indian. And I remember the arena shaking, and they're going, India, India. And I was thinking, Jazza's girl. I remember watching it, I was like, oh my God. I was thinking, I'm facing one of these motherfuckers next. I was thinking, this is going to be, you know, an epic fight. And they tried to rob Jazza in that fight, and Jazza pulled the fight back. And after Jazza won, he had an amazing victory to get to the final. And everybody was telling me, oh, you're fighting James Dickens next. For some reason, they put pressure on me. Because I know how good Jazza was. I watched him growing up to be a national and British champion.
But you stopped your opponents, didn't you?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
remember about you.
You remember that? Yeah. And the thing was, is that I knew I was up against. I remember all the kids saying, you're fighting Jazza, you're going to lose to Jazza. And I was like, they're probably right. This kid is awesome. I respected Jazza because he was a technician. I remember watching him, you know, through the assessments.
We were friends the other way, every 10 days in the Sheffield team.
Yeah, well, in between that, before that, though, we got then selected to be on the development with each other. So it was me, Charlie Edwards, Fraser Clark, Warren Bastas, Scott Cardle,
John Quigley, Ryan
Aston,
Tommy Stubbs.
Yeah, Tommy Stubbs, the motherfucker. We had Steve Simmons, you know, and like Khalid Yafai, Bradley Saunders. They were the lead coming from Beijing, and you know, to be, I think that team leading up to 2012. Ian Weaver, quality fighter here, probably one of the most talented on the team. But at that time, I think that was probably the most talented squad I'd ever seen over the years on the Olympic cycle.
Yeah.
That 2012 cycle was incredible talent, wasn't it? And yes, we got to the final.
Before we talk about the final,
Yes, okay.
what was your experience with the Indian people? When you got to India, was it a shock to you, coming from Wales? Because it wasn't me.
It was a shock on that we came from a deprived area in our communities, me and Jazza. But when we went to a third world country, it was different, bro. I realised how lucky I was. Like,
I did not.
oh, it was just like,
changed my life.
I tell you, so I remember this like yesterday. When the Commonwealth Stadium was getting built, Jazz,
Yeah.
right?
You built a full complex to
Yeah,
get people safe inside.
They did. But a lot of work wasn't finished when we got there. And I remember seeing this woman.
Laying bricks?
No, this was, yeah, I seen her. But she was sweeping a floor that was a dusted floor. She could have been there for a million years and the floor would have looked the same. And she was happy like this. Hi. And I was thinking, this woman is sweeping that floor and she was happy to do that. She could have been there for a million years and the floor would look the same. As in, these people are just incredible.
Like brushing a beach?
Yeah, brushing the beach. And she was happy doing that. I was thinking, wow, you know, and I realised how lucky we were. And I remember, you remember, Team England and Team Wales, we were told strict instruction, don't eat the ice cream, don't eat the food.
Yeah, the food was great.
All I ate was banana and toast. All the boys on Team Wales, they were eating calories. I was like, you are crazy. I am not eating meat that's covered with any sauce. I'm not eating a lettuce, I'm not eating salad. Every time I break the bottle, it's got to be a click. And I was strict in this pot. I ate banana and toast until all the way up to the final. I didn't eat anything else. Banana and toast. Remember, because out there, the bananas were tiny.
The tiny little things. First time I've seen one of them.
Yeah, I was like, well, these are weird, but I stuck to banana and toast, basic. Because all the boys eating curries and they are the shits. And they were having the sweats to get like Delhi belly.
Yeah.
I thought, no, no.
Well, I went for a walk one night and there was a woman with a baby in her arms laying bricks. Because he was sitting on the floor laying brick with a baby in her arm, and I always thought, bloody hell, where I'm from, maybe he's at 5 or what, he's done nothing until you get there. And then when I went back to almost to the street corners, lad, and people said, what are you up to? I said, nothing. And they say, oh, shit in it, lads. I was thinking, it's not.
Well, you're right. I remember seeing not a four-legged dog, a one-legged dog. I was seeing 4 people on a scooter with a baby in the middle. There's no roadside road, it's just a road. It's kill or be killed on the roads, remember?
Crazy, innit?
And I couldn't
That
that was the warning. It's not nasty, it's just saying I'm here. But it was crazy. But the love.
Remember the tin roofs, lad? The shacks that we live in, tin roofs and all that?
But I remember they took us out for a little day out for half the day. And they were showing us a little shopping mall. And I remember like the prices were more expensive than back home. Then across the road, you'd have a 4 mile of a shanties, homes. Like, well, that's when I seen a one-legged dog. I was thinking, you've got a shopping mall there, the diverse of it, and then you've got thousands and thousands of people living in pigeon huts.
Contrast with crazy.
Oh,
What do you reckon happened to that dog, lad? Different family just got hungry and thought, we'll have one leg tonight.
I think he just sat there and
wow.
I think I've seen a 3-legged dog, but I've never seen a 1-legged dog. Like it was a big shock to reality. That's when I realised, we got it good back home compared to it. Like I know I'm rushing ahead. It's just when I went home in India, I didn't even run the water. I brushed my teeth and stopped the water. I felt bad. I felt really bad that I didn't want to waste my own water in one country. Obviously, it wears off. But when I come home, I felt so bad. When I pushed my go, close the water. I won't waste my food. I want as greedy as I normally am. It was like, this is, like Jazza will tell you, we traveled the whole world with Team Wales and Team England. That was before even we went to Team GB. And the life experiences life gave me from meeting people in third world countries. Like I'll tell you a little story now. And I remember I went to Serbia and it's for the Youth European Championships. And I only had like 6 fights at the time. I was a baby. I shouldn't have been in the tournament. And I was selected to go. And I remember every time we go to the tournament on the day, there was a guy with an old rusted push bike selling watermelons, right? And we had amazing people like me, Chris Jenkins, Andrew Selby, Liam McGoldrick, remember Master Ellis and James Ellis, the twins? Oh, they were really good fighters. We had a wicked Welsh team, right? And every day he'd be there smiling like this, and sitting there with a sign, or however much the melons were, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. And it was roasting in Serbia this time of the year. And then on the last day, like I've seen him every day, like on the last day of the trip, I was thinking, why the fuck is this guy so happy? I think, what has he got that I haven't got that makes him happy enough to give me? I was really naive in this, and I was thinking, like, how is he happy? And I'm thinking, he hasn't got what I got.
Yeah.
You know, and on the last day I asked him, he could speak little English, and I said, are you so happy all the time? And he could speak little English, and I said, I sell my melons, I get my money, I buy food, and I sit down with my family and I eat. I was like, boys, buy all the fucking melons. I said, all the boys buy the melons, because I think, you know what, that man, his goal in that day was to sell all his melons just to sit down and eat with his family. And that was like, I remember that, I tell everybody that story, because I was just thinking, the cheap thought that I thought that I was the happier man when he was really the richer man, because his values on what he'd bring, he'd earn his money and go home and eat food with his family. I'm just like, these are the things that in boxing not many fighters talk about, as not just as a fighter, as a person, the life lessons that taught me growing up. Is it the same for you, Jazz?
The same, I was going to go on to that, but the Indian people have you so happy, but I thought they had nothing, lad, and I envy that type of contentment. My girlfriend sits at home with the kids, and that's a great mother, it's the job she does, but I say to myself, I'm chasing the wind. I'm just forever chasing the wind, lads. Uncontent, unhappy, and I think if I could be happy with nothing, that would be real riches, you know. And that's what it's meaning now, people, you know. Well, I don't know, did I?
No, but we were so young. We was only 17 years of age, you know, and at the time, me and Jazza, we had the world at our feet. So one, we became full-time athletes, funded by lottery. We were sponsored by Adidas, Lucozade. And one camp we had a psychologist, sports nutritionist, strength and conditioning, 10 top boxing coaches, the best sparring, in the best of the best.
Fed every day.
We fed every day. We trained 3 times a day every day for 4 years. Someone's 1 week of training was our day. You know, and that's what I love today, and that's why we are the athletes that we are. You know, like it's crazy.
Yeah. So do you remember what more than me? Like, this is down to the trauma and pain I felt losing that. No one I not well. We'll go into the fight now. You told me the story about the fight we remember yesterday, and I remember a lot of that fight. What you told me about? I remember the ending to the fight, but after we go into the fight now. What do you remember the fight time?
Well, when I
Because I don't remember first 3 rounds.
No, I do. Yeah, when me and Jazza fought each other, I knew it was going to be a game of chess. All the other fights, the guys come at me like bombs.
We sparred before, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But I remember sparring with him on pre-assessment, but it was very controlled, and it was not really, we couldn't really tell anything from it. But obviously we knew each other. Well, I knew your career, but I don't know if you knew mine. But I knew that he was a fantastic southpaw, and I hated southpaws when I was younger. So I hated southpaws so much that I worked so hard to love southpaws.
Yeah.
And obviously I knew I felt good and confident winning with Jazza, because I remember a southpaw when I was young giving me a beating, right? I thought I never want to beat off a southpaw like that again. And
do you remember who it was?
oh yeah, I had 2 southpaw beatings, not just one. And I just realised that, you know, when I think of Jazza, that I knew his way of fighting, and I knew that's the way I loved the fight. It was the game of chess. It wasn't a physical battle, it was a mental battle with Jazza. I loved those games. I said, who's going to win this game of chess today? And when the first went on, it was such a cagey round that I think it was like 1-up in the first round. Then it come back to something like 3-all in the second round. And we had the scores on the screen, so we knew where we were each round.
Back then the system was 40-minute rounds, and on the screen it was live scoring. I don't think you remember watching the international tournaments, like the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Games, the scores will come up as it's live, so the coaches will be watching the board more than the fight and shouting, it's 1-0, it's 2-1.
Because you're our coaches, and of course you 1 down or 1-up, and we loved that because we knew it was not going to be bad decisions. So we knew that the score was open and everybody could see it, and it was fantastic arena, wasn't it? It's probably one of the best arenas as amateur we stayed in.
Stadium built just for the boxing, man.
Yeah, it was beautiful, you know, it was. And to be at the biggest stage for our age at that point, like the Commonwealth Games is such a marketed competition in the UK that if you win this or win a medal in this, good things are going to open up. You know, it's history, creating history for yourself. And like I said, the first round I think I was 1-up. It was nothing in the fight, you know. It's like it was a nick, you know, wherever the judges could score, because there weren't many punches thrown, was it? Yeah, it was hardly any punch. It was fencing for the full round. Because if I fell in, he'd catch me with his backhand. If he fell in, I'd catch him with my backhand.
Did we get told at one point when man just thinking this would come together?
No, we didn't. It was a final. It was eyes on us, and you're gonna laugh, right? Because Jazza beat the #1 Indian. He's ranked #1 in the world. The Indian was. He was a monster. So when we got to the final, they all thought I was Indian. So they were Jazza. I was like, I did my own top. So I was like, they were shouting for me because he was a hit. They hated you because you beat their #1 fighter. And I was like, I was back like that. I felt like I was at home, you know. And in the third round, it became 3-all. No, it was 1-0 or come back to 2-all, then 3-all. And we knew it was in the fourth round, it was like something like 5-all in the last round. And we know like someone has to take a risk in this round to win the fight. It was cagey. Like, you explain this stuff because like you remember this.
Well, I can remember the very ending of the fight, so I remember saying, what was it, 14-all or my
it was 8-7.
So the coaches are shouting.
Yeah, I could hear. What was your coach saying to you?
It's level. So someone has to.
Well, listen to this. His coach was saying now. I was looking at the board. I could see it now. Then my coach was saying you're one down. So I was like, oh, and I could see. I said, I'm not throwing. Because if I throw, it's just fucking 7-0.
But it was drawn either way, wasn't it? It was like 5-4.
Yeah, it was.
And we were going to draw, weren't we?
Well,
I
and my coach was saying, you're one down. I was like, I should have listened to my coach, but I had an instinct at that moment. It's like, I am not listening to my coach. I can see the fucking board. It's 7-all. I'm waking up, and I can see Jazza. And I remember, this is what happened. I remember this like yesterday, Jazza, right? I threw a jab to his stomach. I landed. It didn't count. He thought it counted. As he rushed on, because he thought the score that I threw to the jab counted. It didn't count. He came in with a shot. As the bell rings,
I had 1 second to go.
Yeah, not even 1 second, right? I hit him with a 1-2 left up on the bell because he rushed in. I was sitting on the ropes, right? He hit me after the bell. During that moment, the bell was gone.
And we both looked. We looked at the score, didn't we?
And it was 8-7. I hit him with a 1-2 hook, which they called it a 1. And I ran around that ring like an endless chicken. I was so excited, I couldn't believe it. Because I wasn't the favourite on paper, because I knew I wasn't the favourite. I knew I was the underdog against you. I had every kid who came to watch from England telling me, I will fight Jazza Dickens. And I just said, I remember saying this to the kids, because my national coach, Tony Williams was my coach at the time, Colin, and Tony was the head coach at the time before Colin Jones. And I said, and I didn't say anything nasty back at the kid. I remember saying, I said that we'll see on the day. And I remember my coach, Tony, saying, that's a good play. And I just remember these little things, you know, like after that was such a proud moment for me because I was in foster care and my last foster family that I had, yeah.
Wow.
They treated me like their own son. So I was winning Welsh and British titles. I was like saying, I think I can make it, but I wasn't sure. I was still in college doing sports and bricklaying at the time. Because remember, me and Jazza got picked for Team GB before the Commonwealth Games tournament started. So we've done our assessments.
But do you remember what happened at the time? We were on a trial where you weren't getting paid, was you? You still have to go and prove yourself. Remember what was
No, but we did development. But what we done, we passed the I remember, I got through to the development. And what happened then, because you got a silver medal in the Commonwealth, they brought you on.
Okay.
Do you remember?
So you was already on that?
I didn't know we did didn't know this. So before I got to the Commonwealth Games, I already had my assessments.
Oh, was you not then? So
Yeah.
I thought I had to get a medal to get
No, I don't know what happened, but I remember because at the time I was like, how is he still on the team? Right, because I got picked as to be I think it was development and podium. So development would go to Team GB every 2 weeks, and podium were Monday to Thursday or Monday to Friday, whatever. Right? And I got picked, but I got told the results from the assessments. I got chosen, which I was buzzing. But then, when I got to the Commonwealth Games, I knew that Jazza was on the same assessments as me. And I knew if I lost to Jazza, in my head I was thinking, if I lose to Jazza, I'm off Team GB.
Yeah, you fight for your place when you're on the
I felt that, yeah, it was fine. So even though I got picked for Team GB,
yeah.
I thought, well, I got picked instead of him because it was under me, him, Joe Gage. But at the time, we didn't know that we could have number 2s and number 3s.
Yeah.
They were really saying, we picking one to be in our place for that 2012.
So you only get one slot for the big tournaments anyway.
Yeah, and that, so we were going to be the number 1 slot. And I also knew that Khalid Yafai wasn't turning pro after Beijing, so he was going to own that number 1 spot until so when it came then to the Commonwealth Games, I thought, if I lose this to Jazza Dickens, they just take me off and they're going to put him in place. But what happened then, we got to we boxed unbelievable. It was an amazing tournament, it was amazing.
Yeah.
We boxed out of our, I stopped 2 guys, he beat the number 1 Indian. Then it was an amazing final. You couldn't have asked for a better final because it was skill. And then obviously I knew that that's when I realised, that's the same, because I was in foster care, my foster parents always told me, like, keep your feet on the floor, Dad, like, it hasn't happened yet. And that hurt me because I wanted to believe that I could make it in boxing, and these major tournaments were the time, the real thing that, am I going to be like everybody else in boxing, or am I going to make it? Does that make sense? And I didn't believe it until I won that gold medal. That's when I realised in my own head, I'm going to go all the way in boxing now. Yeah. You know, it is there. We could win Welsh and British senior titles, but when you win a major tournament, that's when you know doors are going to open for you. And then when I got through, and I had amazing. I was the first ever Welsh youth Commonwealth champion ever.
Was you that?
The first.
So after that point, Lansdale, then we turned around the score, you won, you go back, because I just went black. My whole world went dark.
I remember, I still got the picture.
That's how we used to run around.
I was running around like jumping, you know, like as if I won the lottery. It was mad, right? Because
I don't remember nothing.
oh, I do. I just, but you were something. No, I remember because what happened then when we had the ceremony, we had to get the medals, and I remember
was like my medal.
Yeah.
I remember being on the pole.
I felt so bad. I felt so bad. No, because I could see. I'm not a nasty guy, but I could see how much that moment meant to you. And I got the picture of us on the podium, and you were like this, you just like you're sobbing your eyes out. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, I was so proud, and I just remember those moments, and I was thinking, I felt so bad at the same time. I was like, and the thing was as well, because when I went to Team GBN, Jazza was invited in, and I thought, at the time I was like, oh, and then I realised, and then what you got to understand, right, this is what nobody knows, and you would agree, right, when you get on Team GB, it doesn't matter. Every spar was a war. It's not like the Wales, they did England, England they did Wales, Scots were just floating, they done the fucking like. But once we had the wars, and then we realised we had to eat together, sleep together, fly together, go to these shitty countries together, we became blood brothers. So there was no England, there's no nationality problem. It wasn't I hate you, you hate me. It was we are blood brothers now. And I remember that. And I can tell you a thing that when I left Team GB and I went back home to Team Wales, I realised having that brotherhood on Team GB, realised where my standard of friendship needed to be. So when I came home, I actually felt alienated to people, not because I thought I was better than them anyway, I just felt like I don't fit in here. Because the brotherhood that I had with my teammates up in Sheffield, we kind of explained to you, we were in third world countries, it's our families, our dogs, we were away from our friends and families 90% of the year. Dieting, 90% of the year, fighting the top Russians, Cubans, Kazakhstans. We were put in such horrible environments that we had to rely on each other mentally. And when I came home, my standard of friendship never dropped. I promise you, when I came home, I didn't accept anything if it wasn't like what I had of Team Sheffield. And I became very lonely when I came home because of that.
Wow.
Even though I was well known and well liked, I became very lonely, and that's when I became to be so self-efficient and independent. I'm sure Jazza will talk about, you probably talked about that in your own career, of if someone can't do anything for you, we do it ourselves. And all the people I know from my years, I've only got 3 or 4 real, genuine friends that I enjoy sitting down and having food with. The rest, everybody else is just associates or someone I say hello and goodbye to. So, you know, that's something that being away with likes of you, Jazz, and Ryan and the team, is that you will never create bonds like that anywhere. And I was just so blessed to have that and understand that, you know.
From what I remember, I remember the punch,
Yeah.
going black. I remember, so it was like in pictures. I remember 3 pictures. I remember the punch, looking at the score, going black, lost. I remember being on the podium that moment that he was expecting. The Welsh music was on, I'm crying my eyes out for that moment. And then the next moment I remember that is being in the dude setting room.
Oh yeah.
Having a piss and the fellas watching me.
Yeah, if the party couldn't touch it, remember?
Put your pants down and spit it out.
I got it.
And then the next moment was I was at the McDonald's.
Yeah.
I went off it. I gained. So when I got home, you said, I don't like you what you done when you got home now, but I went home. I went home from, what's it, was the box on a Friday, was it, or something like that? By the time I got home on a Monday, I'd gained 9 kilograms.
Yeah.
And we were fighting 51 kilo, I'd gained a stone and a
But
half in 1 weekend.
This is a good point to talk about, because until then, I was making flyweight very comfortable. Yeah. Because I wasn't training 3-4 times a week. I was only Team Wales on the weekends. So I was only training once a day or twice a day before college and after college. So when it came to the tournament, that was one of the last times I boxed fantastic at that weight, because my weight was good. But that moment after, when I got put onto Team GB, I went from training twice a day to 3 to 4 times a day. At the age of 17, and I realised that my body was in a growing. I was only a baby. I knew that we had the best strength and conditioning coaches, the best coaching, so I was going to put on weight. So at this time, I think Jazza will talk about that I am, before we're going to talk about that, I have eating disorders in the world of boxing, as an amateur especially, is that at the time I hadn't got to the point where I was struggling on my weight, but what you were telling me at that point, you was already having an eating disorder.
Eating disorder, and what affected me most of the eating disorder, I didn't know I was lying to people.
Yeah.
I had no idea how I was lying to. 4 years ago, I started Overeaters Anonymous program, a lot of fighters, and I felt ashamed going in there because there's people who were 25 stone, and I didn't feel qualified because I weighed 25 stone.
Yeah,
so I didn't feel like I was like them, and I felt like they did this in the lockdown, and we were doing Zoom meetings, and I felt sort of like they thought I weren't like them either because I was in shape. You're a professional boxer, how can you be an overeater? You know what I mean? I'm only training enough. I'm eating and overtraining, under-resting, overtraining because I'm overeating, stuff like that. So for years, the way I was living was up and down. No one used to go home from the Great Britain team. I used to put a stone on that weekend. And then take the 10 days.
I'm telling you the story. When I got the time I got the podium, that's when I had an eating disorder, because my body started changing because of the training that we was doing. So at that age, I was still growing.
But you still.
And I went through an eating disorder when I was 48. Went up to 51, won everything. At that point, I still didn't follow the process that when your body tells you to move up the weight, especially the talent and the level that we are, we can dominate. The moment I started dieting, I went back to lying to myself, like Jazza. And when I got the team podium, the first 6 months, I was destroying everybody in sparring. I was on fire. I was confident because I just come from major tournaments and winning. I felt really good, and I knew that I was way out of my experience, because when I got the Team GB, I only had 15 fights. So I was 7 times world champion, 2 times British champion, and a Commonwealth Games champion on 15 fights. So I knew I was way out of my depth. When I got taken on Team GB, Jazza was on 50 plus. So Luke Campbell was on 120 plus. So candid, I was on more. Some of the guys I think on the podium had over 200 amateur fights at that point. How the fuck am I meant to compete with these? And the coaches didn't look at your experience, they classed you all the same. So the pressure of that also What happened was, I'll tell you that, was when I started struggling with my weight, was every Monday we'd go to Sheffield, we'd have to weigh in the time we walked into the gym. So we had a little blood stamp to check out the hydration, and we had to jump on the scale. And as the lighter that you was, so if I was fighting a 50,
5%
yeah, so the lighter weights, if you was 51, we could only be walking around 52.2. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's 52.2. So if you're over that, Team GB will bollock you. Now, we know that's not sustainable. So every Monday, we'd come in, we'd either say we had a flat tire, we can't make the way in, and then we scoff our faces in KFC.
My nan's died 6 times.
Oh yeah. God bless you. But exactly, we went to extreme. But what happened for me was when you're going to touch it. The time that I was trained from Monday, the time I got to Thursday, I would have had to left Sheffield at 52.2 and come back in Monday at 52.2. So I will tell you, when I had to train for, I would leave Sheffield at 52.2. I'm training 3-4 times a day. The time I leave Sheffield on the train, so we go to the train station, the time I would have got to Wales on the train, guess what weight I would have been the time I got home? I used to jump the skills instantly. I went from 52 kilos to 61.
Wow.
So think about this now.
9 kilos?
Yeah, I would, honestly, right? So you think about it, I was training 3 to 4 times a day, every day. The time I got to Thursday, my body's fucked.
Do you have any time every session?
No, but I'm just saying, not even about that, I'm just saying that we were eating, but we could burn it off because we were training so much. But at the Thursday, we were going to have rest and see our family. We're not meant to train, we do one run maybe. The time I get home to Sheffield, on a Thursday morning we'd leave, after strength and conditioning, if you remember, 10 o'clock session, remember? We'd leave, I'd be home to Wales by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. The time I catch up on the scales, I would put 9 to 10 kilo on. So think now, by Monday, I've got to lose 10 kilo. By Monday. So I go Saturday, I see my friends for 2 minutes. I'm running the roads with 3 pairs of trousers on, black bag, a sweatsuit and 3 hoodies on. I do a slow 10k run, I do 3 kilo on a run. Now you think about it now, my body's fucked, I need to be rested. Listen to this, so this is only the beginning. So Lewis Reese was one of the boxers, and Fred Evans were from Wales. We used to share the lift up in Monday. Man. Fred Evans, crazy crocodile. And this is what we used to do. Monday, we'd go in Lewis Reese's car. It's a 4.5 hour journey from Wales to Sheffield. We put the sweatsuit on in the car, and the heaters on full blast. The heaters on full blast for 4.5 hours. We'd stop at Birmingham, like this, open the door, and all the fucking steam was coming out of the car, right? We like this, so we phoned Dave and said, we've got a puncture, because we're dying.
Wow.
And listen to this, right? Even when we didn't pull a sickie with a flat tire, or sit and ram down, right? I'd still, guess what I'd weigh on the scales on Monday morning? I'd still be, I always used to get down to 53.5. And then, this is where it starts. So the coaches now would be like, fucking, what are you doing? Boring us, they fine us, they sanction us. And I'm sitting there thinking, you don't have a fucking clue what I've done to make this weight.
Yeah.
They do the blood test on us, right? I get super red, so me.
And you'd be like, I don't know why I'm dehydrated.
I couldn't even piss. It was dribbling out, that's how if you knock the light off, the room would glow, right? And I'm sitting there like this, and then, after we weighed in a Monday, instantly we put our bags down, we got to train a 2-hour session. And we done that for 4 years ago. And this is what it led to, and this is actually, that has nothing.
You couldn't be hydrated because you back on the scales 3 times a day, you were right?
Yeah, every day, 3 times a day. But this is where the eating disorder this is when it started affecting my career was, okay, that's bad, but that was nothing, right? So then, in the days when I was training, which I don't know if, I'm being really honest about this is something I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but then when we train, then we'd have our lunch. So I'm starving, dehydrated, and they'd be serving us bread rolls and fucking, and then the nutritionist would be sitting there looking at us every bite.
Like a little busy.
Like busy, remember? What's his name? Mark. Mark.
How many restaurants are lovely, fella?
But Mark would be sitting there watching us eat.
And that was Henry's clip was.
And we were like, and in the morning, you know, like I tell you this thing, yeah, I'll tell you like, so this I was going to say, the serious side of it was, after I eat my food, what do you think my brain was telling me to do? Check my weight.
Yeah.
So I knew that I'm back up to 56, 57 kilo.
You'd be calculating that weighs 0.1, that's 150 grams, that's
So I realised on the days I was walking around 55, I was okay. I could enjoy the food and use it for energy. When I used to go up to 56, 57, I go straight to the toilet and spew up. And that wasn't because I thought I looked fat. That was knowing that I could have put all those miles in the body to get close to it, or do I just spew up? Because this is how I found out the spewing trick, and this is really, it's so bad. Because what happened was, I ate food one day and I checked my weight and I was heavy, and this I didn't need to be sick. So I was weighing like 56 kilo, and one day something made my stomach bad and I was sick. And then I jumped on a scale and I was back down to 53 kilo. I was like, fuck! And that was the trigger. I realised I could drop that weight by doing that. And that became a habit.
Yeah.
So I done that for a 4-year cycle, bro.
I done similar things, and I used to spit food into a bag. So I was in the sauna one morning at 6 AM before I went to Sheffield for the same reason, to get the weight off. So I'm in the sauna and there's an half in there, and he said, why are you in here, like you're losing weight? And I explained to him, didn't really want to talk to him. He said, I've got a secret stick, you know, you can eat what you want. So obviously my eyes opened, what's the secret stick? He went, you can get what you want, whatever food you want. I'm going, yeah. Your mouth water, and he went, put it all in your mouth. I said, yeah. He went, just spit it out. I was like, you bastard. It's savage. And I went,
but you got to remember though, Jazz, years ago, Rocky Marciano used to do the same. He used to chew on a steak and spit it out.
So it went in my head, I went, that makes sense, you can't do that. So I started chewing food while I ate and just spitting it out. So I felt like I was deprived, but I was really.
And the other thing is, there's a science to that though.
But you can lose 1 litre of saliva. It's the least, so when I started looking into it, you can lose 1 litre of saliva. It's the least,
we have dehydration, is it?
Yeah, it's the least your body needs in source of dehydration is your saliva. So before, when I was fighting at 8'10", I was making the weight that bad as a professional. I was losing 0.8 in saliva by doing that.
But this is what the other thing that I don't know if you don't know. When I done research on this, it was with chewing gums. Yeah. So what it was is when he was doing that, your body says that you're having food, but when he was spitting it out, and then this brain is telling you he's full. It's the same with chewing gums. When you have chewing gums, it makes you think that you're eating, and then it creates a reaction.
Is it insulin?
Yes, that's why a lot of fighters, one of my best friends, Damien, he used to do the same. He used to live on chewing gums to make weight. But that would cause severe diarrhea, it would cause loads of problems. But again, you know, the chewing food and spitting out, these are the extremes that we went through. Even like, I remember making weight for fights, because international, we had 6 hours or 5 hours before we could fight, so we had full time to hydrate, get the food to turn into energy. When we used to fight on Team England and Team Wales for the national titles, because we were like this, after we weighed in, we'd be fighting in less than an hour after. We'd be on first. So we never was able to recover. This is why I used to hate fighting in Wales at home, because I knew that my body, it doesn't matter what I eat, it wouldn't absorb into energy, and I was dehydrated. So in the end, when we was making weight, I was sipping on ice cubes for 3 weeks. It wasn't the food, it was always the water, the drinks. We were craving fizzy drinks and chocolate bars. Like, we remember when we were in Sheffield, do you remember that vending machine at the end of the room in the Premier League? I earned a fucking fortune off us, because we would sneak out round down the corridor because the coaches would be looking.
I'll be looking for Jim Davidson.
I walk out like as if I was walking around the hotel to see who he was in. And
Nigel was the worst, because Nigel would be having a fag and he'd sit there. Welsh Nigel, and we'd be like, fucking hell, Nigel, go to bed. Because we were sneaking out, and what we'd do, like every time we'd have a drink, this is how bad it was, we'd jump in the skiff, not drink a can, every time we'd have a drink, and we jump on the scale. So when we go to these East horrible countries like Serbia, Azerbaijan at the time, we wouldn't trust the food, so we used to buy Pringles. Yeah, so we'd eat a Pringle and then jump on the scale. This is how uneducated we was.
I used to lift the salt off the Chris, and probably Chris. So one put weight on me, see I break myself like that.
Oh, this, and for me it was like, going back to the serious side of it, it was when I realised that I had 2 bad losses. I think in my career, I think I only lost 5 or 6 amateurs. I don't know about you.
How many fights have you entered?
I had close to, I should nearly 200. And,
Wow, did you?
Yeah. But I remember fighting. I boxed Jay Harris every year in the championships and beat him every time. And I always struggled to my way to the World Championships. It's just something, I don't know about you. As a young boy, we always struggled to make the weight. But I knew I was always a better international fighter because my style was very technical, and the 4-2s at the time suited us, didn't it?
Tough fucking him. But it went on to be British Commonwealth European champion, 4 world titles, and he has.
Yeah, Jay Harris was a fantastic. He was a world champion before he even started boxing. Jay Harris was. So I beat Jay Harris on my 3rd fight to be the world champion, and every year I beat him in the championships. But what happened was, this wasn't for the championships. I was on Team GB at the time, and I don't think I had lost a fight up until that point. Internationally as part of Team GB. And what they asked us to do years ago, before the Commonwealth Games, they used to do a Commonwealth Federation.
Yes, remember that?
Remember that? And it wasn't really a big tournament, it was just called the Commonwealth Federation. It was similar. And at this time, I was in a massive eating disorder. So I boxed Jay, and I went in, I knew that my weight, I was in a really bad place with my weight. I remember my friends were saying I look green. Now I'm cappuccino, I got a tan, right? And my friends were saying I look green. Now I didn't believe it. I felt I was a fucking man. I felt like shit. You're lying to yourself. Badly. Like my hip bones were sticking up, and I'm like, I was a premature child. I've always been tiny, right? And I remember, and I boxed. I knew in my head I had to stop him because after 2 rounds, I haven't got the energy. I know I'm going to be fucked. So in this fight, I give Jay 2 standing counts in a round.
Yeah.
And this is how sad, this is how corrupt the system was sometimes, right? It should have been like 20-0 in the first round. It came back, I was 3-0 up. I give Jay 2 standing counts. The next round, I was fucked. I was fucked. But it came back and we brought the round back to 3-all. The last round, Jay battered me. He battered me, right?
Did we 3-3s at this point?
No, it was...
4 still 4-2s?
It was 2 rounds. Yeah, it was 2-3s. And at this point, Jazz, right, I won the fight. He won the last round. I batted in the first round. The second round was a draw. Last round he beat me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying is it should have been like 20-0 from the first round.
Percentage of the fight you won?
Yeah, I 100% won the fight. And look, when I say I lost a fight, I'd shake someone's hand. I don't care about losing, right? And Jay had the decision, and that was the moment where I said, I will never ever do that again. And a week later, you know the guy, the one I lost to now, right? Was my coach put me in a position to say, fight again, prove I'm wrong. And when your coach tells you, we didn't answer back to our coaches. Our coach said, you fight. We didn't answer our coaches back, they just tell us to do it, we did it. And then I fought the guy from Liverpool, me and Fred. Remember the show Fred got banned by the guy with the hammer?
Jed boxed
Paul
Jerry
Walmsley's.
Medal?
His name was Paul Walmsley's fighter.
Luke Willis? Luke Willis?
No, he wasn't. When you say that, I remember the name. He was a southpaw.
Jerry Medal? Luke Willis?
No, it was Paul Walmsley fighter though. And this point, again, I hadn't eaten for 2 weeks probably, because my coach made me fight again in that weight. And I went up there, and the Jay fight, I thought I won. I knew I won, right? This one, he battered me. I could see the punches coming, and I couldn't move out the way. Do you know what I mean? I could see him coming, but I was so dehydrated, but I couldn't move out the way. He gave me a standing count. And this was not long coming back after the Commonwealth Games. I was like, known as such a super prospect. And that moment onwards, I said to myself, and then after that, Rob McCracken then made me fight GB versus Sweden. This is when Carl Smith and Sam Maxwell come on the team. And then they said, you're going to fight again. And I thought, I can't, I have to listen. I've just got a contract with these guys, And I went in there, and his name was Muhammad Ali, this kid I was fighting. He had a bigger cheer than me in my own country. He was up in England, right? And I just about pulled the win off. At that moment then, I said, I will never, ever in a million years, I'm not doing this. I said, I will not make that weight ever again. And it was sad because at that moment then, I'd already been on the team for his own Olympic year. So I knew if I was going to get released because of my weight, the chances of me coming back that year was 1%. After I trained, the sacrifices that me and Jazza would have made to be on that final year to qualify for the Olympic Games was, we sat everything. We did 1% stay here. And what happened then was, I had a fight in my local town, knocked the guy out, broke my hand, couldn't make my weight, Rob released me. And then he said, you can come back on the team if you win the championships. And I knew that year, the only hope I had of coming back on Team GB that year was, if the rule at that time was, if you win the WABA senior title, you automatically picked for the Olympic qualifier, and I was in Azerbaijan. In this meantime, I stopped the guy from North Wales. I went up a weight to 56 kilo. Rob McCracken, because the women coming to the Olympics, they took the weight straight from 52 to 56 then.
It was 51, 54, 57, wasn't it?
Yeah, then they got rid of that.
Went to 52 to 56.
So it's 52, 56, and then lightweight.
60.
And then I knew, when I went up, I started eating food. So this is the difference. This is when I realized the power of having an eating disorder, not making weight right as well. Then I went away on holidays. I come back. I found out that then when I started back training, when I went up to fifth, I went up 4 kilos, 5 kilos in weight. Out of camp, guess what weight I was walking around there? So think about it now, right?
I know this.
At the time, when I was at 51, I was going up to 61, 62 kilos. When I went up a weight,
I guess 58, 57.
bang on.
It's mad,
And then when I went up a weight,
yeah,
this time you go, it was 58. I only had 2 kilos to lose to make this weight. I became a different animal. At that point, before I moved up the weight, I was so sad because I had the whole world at my feet. I was Team GP, I had everything. Funded, lottery funded. We was on 40, 50 grand a year. That's crazy though, right? For 17 years of age. And then when I went up a weight and I realized I became faster, stronger. I started knocking people out in sparring. I went up another 6 levels. And all these years I was lying to myself. And I realized, I became, at that point, I was 3 years, if I moved up a weight sooner, I could have been 3 years ahead of my career. And this is why now, when I work with other fighters and athletes and amateur children, I am so honest and modest and experienced to educate them about weight making. And then when I went to 56 kilo, I went on, I beat Jay House in the final. I beat Jay House 15-0 then on TV to go to the Olympic box off in Azerbaijan. And then Team Wales put an obstacle there because at that time the Senior Commonwealth Games just happened. So Sean McGoldrick just won the gold. And they said, no, we're not letting you go now. You're going to have a box off with Sean McGoldrick behind closed doors. I was like, no chance. In open public, I said, you're not doing a number of me on this. And then I went on to beat Sean McGoldrick to go to the Olympic box off. And this was my chance. And at the time, when I moved up to 56, that was the first time in the world time in my whole career I believed I could beat anybody in the world at that time. Because when I moved up a weight, I became a different fighting Jazz. And sadly, Jazza knows a little bit about this, on that Olympic year then, a week before going to Baku for the Olympic qualifier, I came off my motorbike, crashed and broke both my femurs. But my doctor said I'd never fight again. Which is,
what were you doing on the bike then?
No, what it was like, remember, when I beat JRS and Sean McGoldrick, Team GB invited me back onto Team GB. So at that point before that, I had my little motorbike to travel around all the gyms in the UK for sparring.
Oh.
So it was so expensive
Yeah.
to drive that I had my little motorbike I travelled to, I used to go to gyms on my own. It'd be 15 boys waiting outside the ring for me to spar. Because I knew this is,
experience and stuff
and I had to do it because we knew what we had to do to be the elite. And then I had a freak, I wasn't acting in the gym actually, it was just like, I had a freak motorcycle accident, my career over. You know, it's, and sadly then it was, I remember watching the Olympic Games, watching Andrew, all the boys, I broke my heart. I was sitting on the sofa, in my wheelchair, sobbing my eyes out, that everything I worked out for all these years was gone. And I wasn't jealous of the boys, it was admiration, Jazza.
And you watched the movie Believe This by Vinny Pazienza? Have you
know.
not watched it? He has the car crash and he has the name.
Oh, the one with the cage
Yeah.
on. Oh yeah,
Was it
that's
that-
amazing.
that-
No, 100%. And I got upset watching that film.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just like, I got so upset.
Was there a moment when you thought you will not fight again?
Yeah, that was the moment I knew. After that, it was. Well, sorry. After that, it was. Sorry, Jack, it was. That was the moment when I realised that when the doctor tells you you're never going to play walk time again, he said, you need to play darts, bro. That's what he told me. He said I'd walk with a limp forever. So for me, that was, I'm a realist. I'm not a dreamer. When the doctor tells me I'm not going to fight again, I believed it. I became a normal person then. I started working with children in schools, etc., etc. And then the story went on, Jazza, and that's how in the end, 7 years later, I found myself in a position to come back, and now I became a world champion bare knuckle fighter.
Boxing? Wow.
So,
you walking with a limp for years and all that?
Was
Where in your leg strength is great, you know?
yeah. It's lucky the door. Every time I was trying, I didn't have no rehabilitation. I just worked on my body. And then one time, I remember Lee Selby asking me, Dad, can you do some sparring for the camp? I was eating the bag once a week. I couldn't move properly. And I remember him saying, no, come on, I need some sparring. And I remember going there. He was the IBF world champion at the time.
Killer.
Unbelievable fighter, Lee Selby, you know, we had an amazing relationship.
And he sparred hard, didn't he?
He sparred hard, bro.
We used to hire me to spar him, but he
Yeah.
sparred hard and he was huge.
He was
When
huge,
was
so long and tall.
He was like 3 weights above everybody
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he was so big for the weight, you know?
And I remember then, going up there and giving a good account of myself for the world champion. So for me, that was, all of a sudden, the penny dropped.
How did you go home that night then?
I just couldn't believe it. Because I thought I was done. So to be there and ask repeatedly to help people like me, Selby, like I've done so many camps with me. I've done the Cambosis camp with him, the full camp, and like this is like, the highest level of boxing, and even though me and Lee were friends, we wasn't friends when we sparred. After the spar, respect was there. We came to spar because that's what it was like. It was a doghouse spar,
Oh, it was unbelievable at that moment.
It was brutal. And the fact was that when I realised that turned my way of thinking of how I started changing, looking after my body more. And that was the building process then of becoming a fighter again. I went the bare knuckle route to get myself back in the pro boxing route. So I thought, how can I build my platform now? I've been off the scene for 10 years. So I thought, what way can I get my name back out there, build my following? So what I did, I started showing all my sparring, my paddling, my shadow boxing. But most boxers only show a little bit because they don't want other fighters to work them out. I didn't give a fuck. I thought, I'm going to show everything.
Not to lose.
I had nothing to lose. So I started winning, knocking people out. Then I was in bare knuckle. I started fighting guys at 80 kilo. I was 65 kilo.
And your last fight was 56?
No, 66. And then I became a world champion and then became off organisation.
Your last amateur fight before that was 56?
Oh, 56, yeah. So, I was fighting guys who are light heavyweight. I'm in a phone box. So I realised I'm not just a nice little pretty boxer. All the things I grew up from my childhood, with through drugs and alcohol, I think it all come out. And I just became a savage. And I know that I'm a better glove fighter than a bare knuckle fighter. So the goal was to build my platform to go back. But it got to the point where it took me years to do it. And then when I done it, now I got in the position, I got offered more money with BKFC. Conor McGregor's my boss now. Now they've said to go back to boxing, there's a good chance I'm going to get shunned away because of my ability, because the risk is more than the reward. So now I'm taking the bare knuckle route, and this is where I am, champ. So, you know, I'm part of BKFC now. We got Jazza, Conor McGregor's my boss. And now I'm just pushing, I'm to finish my career as a bare knuckle fighter. It's not what I want to do Jazza, because I look at you, and I look, I know, but it's a frowned upon sport where we've come from such a high level boxing, real boxing with gloves on family, that when I watched you go through the British Commonwealth European fight for world titles, that was always my dream, Jazz.
Yeah. So I've got questions about this then. So around the BKB, what's the similarities? Because obviously it's a different sport to professional boxing, 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves, to BKB, bare knuckle. What is the similarities, and is the differences between the range, and is the differences between punching technicalities?
But I tell you the truth, it's really simple. We're going to finish on this part where my coach when I was young, he told me, hit or not be hit. I stuck to the rule. I don't spar bare knuckle, I don't hit the bags bare knuckle. If I look after my hands in camp, then my hands are in good condition for fight. So I know I break my hands every fight in the first round. Usually I break both my hands. So for me is, I look after my hands, I spar with 14s and 16s, and I treat bare knuckle better than I do with pro boxing of the skill of the hit and not get hit.
Is that because the risk of getting it is worse? So
way worse. I get one hit in with bare knuckle, I got a gash, but
you're less likely to be careless.
yeah, I gotta be squeaky clean. I'm not a mug like these guys, the tough guys. It's only so far you can be a tough guy in bare knuckle. Yeah. I go in there and show my IQ, hit and not get hit. Yeah. That's what achieves me. This is what makes me special in bare knuckle. I'm a different breed to anybody else because of that.
Yes. So you know the stance of the olden days fighters, Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, the stance that they had and the distance that they had between themselves, is that because of the gloves?
And it was because the gloves were so small that they were wary that they know if they got hit there would be serious damage.
I thought that was, yeah.
With the gloves, when you look at pro boxing, and it's been science proved on numbers that UFC and bare knuckle is safer than glove boxing because you take one hit, it's over. Boxing, you take a number of hits.
Yeah, the cumulative damage is less. So what about the defence? Is the any point in having defence?
No, you've got to block it, head movement. I'm not there to catch and block. Yeah. There's such a risk to be that close, you've got to be away.
Even with pass effect, you can still get flashed, taking a shot from the glove as a professional.
Yeah, with no gloves, I said you should not do that. Yeah. That's my advice.
So become a BKB world champion then? What was that like? I've got one more question after this, but BKB world champion, what was that like?
For me was, if I could be the best boxer on the planet, then can I be the baddest bare knuckle fighter on the planet? And I achieved that, and I'm super proud of that. And it's opened many doors for me now that I can show that I can be the nicest guy outside the ring, but when I fight, it's a switch, and I switch it, and I'm a different person. I feel like I'm a superhero when I fight. So I say, my what I am in fighting right now, Jazza, I don't know if you're the same. I don't fight, I don't care about winning, losing, drawing. When I fight now, I'm saying, for 22 years I've been boxing, Jazz. I'm saying thank you for boxing. Let me show you what boxing has taught me. Yeah, let me express all those years we've dedicated to boxing. Let's be authentic. Let me show you what I've learned in the last
I've seen so many fighters coming out of the career and get better.
Yeah.
But because they believe that they were a part of something. But boxing's, I see it as boxing's mine and experiences of mine. All these things I've learned, they're mine. And
there's less pressure. But the way thing now, there's no pressure.
Yeah, and there's one more time, which I didn't cover before. I went home after that Commonwealth final, so I went home. So it was a bit of a positive story for me, I went home, my dad was clean off heroin for all my life, went home to live with my dad again, and then not long after that I found God, because my dad then found God, and my life changed from then on. And I came back with a grateful experience from being in India. What was it like for you?
No, I'm going to go back to what you said. I actually remember when you turned God.
Yeah.
No, I'm not lying, I do.
Yeah.
And I remember, like,
people used to ask me, you want me when I do? Because I was that much of a little fucker.
Nah,
you say you want to. One man said to me, why are you doing this? Are you gay? That's what I did.
No, I remember it because, and I also remember Jazza, when we was part of Team GB, we was so kitted out with kid. You wouldn't believe it. We were sponsored by Adidas, and we was having the first grade boxing kit.
It was great. On them days when we used to
Oh.
give us ideas. So
And I remember Jazza turning up to Team GB. He'd have holes in his t-shirt because he had given, not a little bit, he gave all his fucking kit to the kids from the boxing club. I remember that. That's bad, I remember. And that's when I realised that you was a godly man. And I remember people saying, oh, Jazza's turned to God. And I said, good for him. I remember it, like yesterday, months ago.
So for you, I don't know. Thank you for that.
That's
Thank you
okay.
for memories.
No,
You punched the marry, right? But what happens when you were older, how did it feel?
Oh, do you know
say
what?
you were foster family with the gold medal. How was it going on?
It was a proud moment because I'm just going to give a quick one. I know we have to go shortly. Is that when I got found a good foster home.
Yeah.
This is the first place that someone loved me like their own son. And unfortunately, before I got into boxing, my foster father passed away. So that fight beating you was for him. So when I came home to that, I'd see my foster mum's face. That was a special moment because she did well. So for me, it was like, then, you know, I was part of the BBC, I was like a legit elite Team Wales, and that for me was just like, I wasn't going to college anymore, Jazz. This was where our life changed. We became, after that, full-time athletes. Nobody had the setup that we had on our 2012 cycle. That was such a privileged year. One, the two the games we did in London, and two, from the Beijing team winning so many medals and qualifying, brought funding to us.
Do you remember what the letter was like, receiving your letter?
Oh bro, I cried my eyes out.
What was the moment? Sorry, that's the second one.
No, I cried my eyes out because I knew, I got Jazza to understand that us Welsh boys were totally up against it with the English because the English setup was so better than Wales, that they were so more experienced than us. So when I went there, every bleep test, press-up test, push-up test, I had to beat the English. So I had to be at the point where they couldn't refuse me. That's the point I had mentality. Because the first time was an experience, but that second time, I made sure I won every test. And that's the moment when I had that certificate for me. That was probably one of my memorable moments in boxing, was that, Trust.
Well, I got mine.
I'm living with my mum. I'm doing things that I shouldn't do to make money, things I never said I've done. My parents have come from addiction, and I'm doing things to make money just to get by to box that I should never have been doing.
I give me mine up, lads.
I not
Just
just that.
that, and I promise that I'll never do that.
But listen, this is the other thing is that Jazza, even though he was in that situation, Jazza, he was so naughty that even when he had the opportunity, the first time he got chucked off.
I got kicked off.
Remember?
I was on the World Championships and got kicked off the team for kicking the doors.
And then he came back. Oh, unbelievable.
Oh, it changed me like that experience.
It
It changed me as a person because I started to blag it then to be good, you know what I mean?
No, but I mean is then your teammates,
I get respect.
you, Abby Fowler, Keenan Farrell, Ian Weaver, what was unbelievable English setup. And I'm saying is that when you surrounded yourself with them more,
Danny Phillips, remember
oh, it was Danny, bro. Oh, again, you know, and when you was around, I forgot about Danny, and when you was around those people, you leveled up, bro. You realised then what you got, and you became a full-time athlete, which is amazing. But hey, what a story.
I could go on and on,
I know.
but I'm enjoying your time here very good. I've got this conversation, Dan. I know you have enjoyed the content. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And also check Dan's social media. What is your social media?
Yeah, it's Dan_Chapman0, and just give us a follow. I follow back on
He's
it.
got a big fight coming up soon, haven't you? So,
Yeah.
so follow the social media. But yeah, thank you. Please, like I say, do all them things, and thank you for watching.
Alright,
Yeah, what's that?
yeah. There's some more memories.
I know we were fighters.